Hello and welcome. You're watching To The Point. The Catholic Bishops' Conference has complained that the decision by the Chief Justice of India to hold a conference on Good Friday breaches the sacrosanct character of the holy day and hurts the feelings of Christians. But is that justified, or is it a case of sensing slights where none exist and making an unjustified fuss? That's the discussion in part two. But first, Home Minister Rajnath Singh's claim that cow slaughter cannot be accepted in India and the government will try its level best to bring a countrywide ban has once again raised an issue that is usually blinded by emotion and ignorance. Can a secular country ban the slaughter of cows? Can it decide what people should eat? And beyond all that, are there sound economic, nutritional and even medical reasons for arguing that a ban would be wrong? That's the first discussion tonight. And joining me now to discuss whether a ban on cow slaughter is justified or unwarranted is BJP spokesperson Sambit Patra, Congress spokesperson Ajay Kumar, the managing editor of the Business Standard Rahul Jacob, the All India spokesperson of the Hindu Mahasabha Rakesh Ranjan, and a former professor of IIT Mumbai, Ram Puniani. Sambit Patra, on Sunday, Home Minister Rajnath Singh said that the NDA government will try its level best to bring in a countrywide ban on the slaughter of cows. And then he added, cow slaughter cannot be accepted in the country. On what basis does the Home Minister say that cow slaughter cannot be accepted in India and therefore India should have a ban on cow slaughter?
Karan, let me remind you of the fact that already the cow slaughter issue is not allowed in India because most of the states have stringent laws as far as ban on cow slaughter is concerned.
But there are several that don't. The Northeast doesn't, Bengal doesn't, Kerala doesn't. So come back to my question. On what basis does the Home Minister of a secular country say cow slaughter cannot be accepted in India?
There is a greatest basis of the 2005 judgment of Supreme Court, a 7-judge bench of Supreme Court headed by none other than the Chief Justice of India, Justice Lahoti, who said that, and the famous statement of his, I quote, that single cow's dung is worth even the famous Kohinoor diamond. This is what the Chief Justice of India
same
said.
Judgment, Sambit Patra actually refused to ban the slaughter of cows. So you're quoting a judgment that goes against your argument. Come back now to my question. On what basis does the Home Minister of a secular country say cow slaughter cannot be accepted?
When a PIL was filed. When a PIL was filed against the cow slaughter ban that was brought by the Gujarat government, and the Gujarat government won on this petition. Gujarat government won on this verdict of the Supreme Court in 2005. So I am in fact promulgating the right judgment over here in your program, in which even the Chief Justice says that, well, yes, what the Supreme Court had previously in 1958 said that certain sections should be allowed with a certificate from the veterinary hospital, even those cannot be slaughtered.
Let me bring in on that point Rahul Jacob. Rahul Jacob, I suppose the essence of the argument from the side of people like Sambit Patra, even if he hasn't made it, is this. For hundreds of millions of Hindus, the cow is like God, the animal is worshipped, its slaughter is deeply offensive. If Muslim countries can ban pork or alcohol, why should Hindu majority India not ban the killing of cows? How do you answer that argument?
Well, there's a certain logic to it, but those countries presumably don't have the words democratic and secular in the preamble to their constitution. What's at issue here is not just what Christians and Muslims may or may not want to eat, but that there are millions of Hindus who eat beef as well. And one of the wonderful things in the past week has been seeing many of these Hindus make impassioned arguments in favor of allowing that liberalism to continue. Today there's a fantastic piece in First Post written by a vegetarian arguing that a beef ban is undemocratic, dietarily undemocratic, which I think is a wonderful way of putting it. And that is exactly at issue here. If we're a democratic, secular country, you can't have the government making these choices that hurt farmers, Hindu as well as Muslim, presumably, as well as the abattoirs. There's an entire industry in
Let's take it one step at a time. Let's not collapse all the arguments into one answer. I see that I've got Dr. Rakesh Ranjan, the spokesperson of the All India Hindu Mahasabha, with me. Dr. Ranjan, India is a secular country, even if you may not like that fact. It's not a theocratic country, it's not a Hindu country. Indians have a right to eat what they want. Beef may be prohibited for Hindus, it's perfectly acceptable for Christians and Muslims, and many Dalits eat it as well, as do many practicing Hindus. Now, how can a secular country ban the slaughter of cows?
Karan, although India is a secular country, that's a fact, but Indian constitution has adequate provision to protect Hindu culture. One of the prime reason for which Hindu organizations have been demanding for quite some time is Article 48, which clearly states that the state has to make an adequate arrangement.
That's
for
a directive principle. It's not necessarily enforced, by the way. It's a directive principle, like the same directive principle for a uniform civil code. The point is that it's an anathema to many who are not Hindus.
What about the rights of majority? What about the rights of Hindus, Jains, and all Indians who are vegetarian or who support vegetarianism or who are against cow slaughter?
So you're saying that the right of the majority means that on this issue of cow slaughter, Hindus or vegetarians should get preference over Christians, Muslims, Dalits, and those who want to eat beef. Is that what you're saying?
So why Hindus must suffer? Do you want to advocate that Hindus must keep suffering, or Hindu rights must be denied?
All right.
Which has been denied for last 60 years.
Ram Punyani, you have written recently from the opposite viewpoint to that you're just hearing from Rakesh Ranjan. Yeah. But there is a counter to your viewpoint. Writing in the Hindustan Times on the 12th of March, Faizan Mustafa, the Vice-Chancellor of the Law University in Hyderabad, points out, and I'm quoting him, most of the Muslim rulers of India did in fact ban cow slaughter even during Baqar-Eid, keeping in mind Hindu sentiment. He says it was the British, when they ruled India, who lifted that traditional ban. So a law today banning cow slaughter would simply go back to India's traditional historic position. Why would it therefore be such a wrong thing?
See, I think the Muslim rulers also who banned the cow slaughter was to respect the feelings of the people here. Now today, when we are in a secular country, when we have multiple religions, a large section of Hindus, Adivasis and Dalits have been consuming beef all through. And to say that cow is sacred for all the Hindus has some problem, because if we see in Vedic times also there was a consumption of beef, and all through if we see gradually
Carry on, Mr. Punyani.
Objectionable. In Vedic times, there is no mention.
Dr. Ranjan, he didn't interrupt you. Don't interrupt him.
Can I complete?
Dr. Ranjan, he didn't interrupt you. Don't interrupt him.
A particular thing in the face of Hindus is very true. But let's see what Gandhi says about this. Mahatma Gandhi also said that cow slaughter should be banned only when the other communities are taken into confidence and they are also agreeable to this. So in a democratic country, plural country, we have to keep in mind, one, the faith of majority, the needs of the minority, and even the agrarian and other needs of the majority community also. Let me point out, when we are talking of the faith of the Hindus, a large section of agrarian economy,
Dr. Punyani, let's come to the agrarian aspect of this later. Let's take it step by step, because otherwise audiences will find it difficult to follow the argument. Ajay Kumar, do you fear, as Congress spokesperson, that behind this movement to ban cow slaughter is in fact the resurgence of some form of Hindutva politics? Is that why we've seen steps in this direction in Maharashtra and Haryana after the BJP took over government there? And is that why the Home Minister is pushing this line in Delhi?
Karan, you know, it's obviously politics, and even my colleague Sambit Patraji and even the Hindu Sabha gentleman from Hindu Sabha, I wanted to just tell them, it's ridiculous. Cow slaughter by, you know, it's, first of all, it's in the Schedule 7, Article 15 says that the states have the right to decide. So 20 out of 29 states decided, and it didn't include the other cattle. So cow slaughter, but Mr. Rajnath Singh says cow slaughter is banned, and for a lot of people who are ignorant, it becomes an emotional issue. But the fact is, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, there are 20 states which ban cow slaughter.
But you're sidestepping my point. is this therefore being raised in this way by BJP governments in Maharashtra, Haryana and in Delhi for Hindutva reasons? Is this a form of Hindutva politics? Answer that.
Obviously, I mean, it's just to fool the people. It's, I said in another show, it's a jumla because it's banned in 20 and most of the Hindi-speaking states.
Yes,
and
but it's not banned in the Northeast, it's not banned in West Bengal, it's not banned in Kerala, and you're forgetting that in the Northeast, it is a dietary preference of the people. Banning it would deny them that. Okay, I take your point. Sambit Patra, let's move beyond the emotion and the morality to the nutritional arguments, and thereafter let's come to the economic ones. According to the People's Union of Democratic Rights, bovine meat constitutes 62% of India's total meat production of 6.3 million tons. Of this, only 1 million tons is exported. The rest meets the dietary needs of millions of Indians. Now, you're a doctor. If suddenly these people are denied this critical form of protein because you banned the slaughter of cows, buffaloes and bulls, you will be also denigrating their diet to their disadvantage.
Karan, I in fact have the statement of 2005 judgment by Justice Lahoti.
But answer my questions now, Sambit.
I am answering your question, and no one better than the Supreme Court of this country can answer your question when they say, when the same question was put to the Supreme Court of India, Supreme Court says nutrition is not necessarily associated with non-vegetarian diet. So this is what the Supreme Court of India says. So I don't have a better reply than Justice Lahoti.
All right, in which case let me also quote the Supreme Court of India to you. Before Justice Lahoti, the Supreme Court also considered this very matter in 1958, and I will now quote what the Supreme Court in 58 said.
But it was overruled.
Let me finish, then you answer. Poorer people, therefore, who can hardly afford fruit or milk or ghee are likely to suffer from malnutrition if they are deprived of even the one slice of beef or buffalo flesh, which sometimes may be within their reach. So you can quote the Supreme Court against the Supreme Court. Different judges reflecting their different predilections have come down on different sides of that argument. It doesn't prove a thing. So I come back to you. If you deny people this essential protein, you as a doctor know that you're putting their diet at a huge disadvantage.
Two things. Number one, the Supreme Court has itself overruled the 1958 ruling in 2005, and number two, in the 1958 ruling, you would see that the Supreme Court had also allowed the ban on the slaughter of cattle. Only it had allowed the old cattle and the other ones to be taken after the veterinary doctor allows the slaughter to take place. And the study says that these old infirm cattle in fact do not supplement the diet of the poor people. So this is what has been confirmed by the 2005 Justice Lahoti judgment as well, that nutrition does not depend on this kind of arrangement only. There are other means of nutrition as well.
You know, it's not just, Rakesh Ranjan, a question of the Supreme Court deciding what nutrition depends upon. At the end of the day, the Supreme Court is supreme because it is the last court. It's not necessarily supreme because it's correct. The Supreme Court can be horribly wrong. At the end of the day, this is a matter of dietary preference. If the people of the Northeast like beef...
When it comes to dietary
just
preference...
a moment, can I put that to Rakesh Ranjan? If the people of the Northeast like beef, if those in Kerala and in West Bengal like beef, if Christians, Muslims, Dalits like beef, why should it be denied to them just because Hindus don't like it?
Karan, if you are taking care of the Muslims and Christians of Hindi heartland, then Hindus are a minority in Northeast, in most of the northeastern states. Why don't you take care of their interest? Why you forget them?
But how is their interest affected if their neighbor eats beef?
Point B, you asked me about nutrition.
Can you answer this for me? How is the interest of a Hindu affected if his neighbor eats beef? Don't eat it yourself. You don't like it.
It is
Why
affected.
stop others?
It is affected because cow is sacred. Cow is a manifestation of God for Hindus, and therefore slaughtering of cow affects their religious belief.
All right, Rahul Jacob, you're a Christian. Do you believe that there is something morally wrong? Because we're coming down to morality once again, sadly, and we're moving away from nutrition. If a Christian or a Muslim who is not prohibited from eating beef does so in an Indian city with Hindu neighbors around him, is it morally wrong? Are you deliberately offending Hindu sentiment by doing it?
Of course not. And in any case, I'm a lapsed Christian, and some devout Christians would find this discussion of beef and hamburgers and steaks during the last week of Lent offensive. So it's at every step along the way on issues of diet, on belief, you run the risk of offending other people. Using onions and garlic would offend certain people. So how far does the Home Minister want to come barging into people's kitchens? I don't think we should be going this far.
Ram Punyani, I want to come to the issues you wanted to raise a moment ago, and those are to do with how this ban would affect livelihood and how it would end up affecting the economy. At the end of the day, as you know better than me, lakhs of people's livelihood depends one way or another on cattle slaughter. It's not just abattoirs that will be shut down. The leather industry will be adversely affected. The production of gelatin, which is critical for medicines, will be badly affected. Exports will be affected. Now, at a time when Mr. Modi is committed to creating jobs, won't this ban have the opposite effect?
Yeah, Karan, before I come to this, let me just permit one particular point. The point was raised about cow as being the god. Let me quote Vivekananda on this. Vivekananda not only consumed beef, he also said that in ancient times also beef was one of the major components. Let's also say that in a country like ours, the dietary habits of Adivasis, Dalits and poor large sections of Hindus are dictated by their needs, and nutritional needs cannot be fulfilled because beef is the poorest, one of the cheapest source of proteins for them. That is number one. Number two, if we see the agrarian economy, right from the small peasant to the middle peasant, they require this type of a cow and other cattle as a supplementary income to them. Now, if we ban this slaughter, for them to maintain the old cows, old bulls, which are not useful for agriculture, will be a burden for them. Now, India already is one of the largest exporters of beef, and bringing such a situation will, I think, create a agrarian chaos in the economy, and this will be going precisely in the reverse direction to which we should be going as a developing economy and trying to use the best resources which we have got in this country.
So, in a nutshell, Professor Punyani, you agree with the tone and tenor of my question, don't you? That this measure would work counter to Mr. Modi's desire to create jobs.
Cow slaughter, this ban on cow slaughter which is being proposed is more of a political agenda to pursue a particular goal. It has nothing to do with the agrarian and other things which our country has. Now, because cow has been used as a divisive thing from last 2 centuries and from last 6 decades, it has been used to target the minorities, in particular the Muslims. So that's how it is being promoted, that whatever religious divides has been brought in by this politics, they want to consolidate it by bringing such issues.
Ajay Kumar, you're a Congress spokesperson. How far will you pursue this issue and oppose the call for a nationwide ban on cow slaughter? At the end of the day, are you worried that if you pursue it far, you could lose Hindu votes and retard the return of Congress to power? Or is this a matter of principle where votes don't count, political expediency doesn't count, and you will stand up for the rights of minorities, Christians, Muslims, Dalits, to be able to eat beef unhindered in a secular country? Where do you stand on that?
Supported the legislation. Well, just a moment. Can
I let Ajay Kumar answer? Then you can count him.
Someone should know that they supported the legislation in Haryana Assembly only about a month ago.
Let him explain, and then you can count him.
Thank you very much for your information. Yeah, Sambit, I'm very much aware of it. Thanks a lot. Karan, you know what we have always been saying, the Congress party has always been saying that based on what is on the constitution and otherwise, it has to be based on consensus and acceptance of the people. So, look at it started in 1955 in Punjab and all the states.
Answer my question critically. Let's not go back into history. No, I'm not going to let you prevaricate. Sambit has been kind enough to interrupt and point out that you in fact supported the ban when the Haryana Assembly passed it just a couple of weeks ago. That adds poignancy to my question. Where do you stand on this issue?
And if the people of the local area, just like Kerala and Goa, where the people are not with the ban or with the people, the consensus are not there, we are with the people. In Haryana, the
people with the majority. Hang on. Christians and Muslims in Haryana now can't eat beef, and you're saying you're with the people, which means you're with the Hindu majority of Haryana, not with the Christian and Muslim minority. Clarify your position, Ajay Kumar. Let's not prevaricate on this issue.
And I want to clarify, Karan, if you let me get a word in, I'm not clarifying. Cow slaughter was banned in Haryana from 1955. I want to ask the Hindu Mahasabha guys whether buffaloes and others come in the description.
Ajay Kumar,
so the whole debate is political.
I am asking the questions, you're not. And the question I'm asking is this: when you say you're with the people, what you're suggesting to me is you're with the majority. In Haryana, where the recent stringency has been introduced, Sambit pointed out, and you didn't deny it, that you voted with the BJP government. That means in Haryana, you've chosen to see the majority as the people, the minority of Christians and the Mio Muslims you are not with. You are happy for Mio Muslims in Haryana not to be able to eat beef.
I want to ask you a question. Let me not ask you a question. Let me answer you in a
Answer it.
No, I want to ask you a simple question. Who brought the ban of cow slaughter in Maharashtra? The Congress government.
Don't answer.
But buffaloes. No. So the fact is,
answer the question. I'm pointing out simply.
So I'm saying that based on the sentiments, based on the sentiments,
you're with the people, you're actually saying you're with the majority, not the minority. All right. I think
you're twisting the answer. It's not a question of majority. It's the question of cow slaughter was always banned in Haryana from 1955.
And
the question is they want to politicize it and raise emotions. And it is a state issue.
You were the one who said Congress is with the people. I'm simply explaining that that position means you're with the majority, not with the minority. Therefore,
and it was banned in 55, Karan. The people of this country
whenever the ban happened, if you're with the majority, you're not with the minority. That's the point I'm making. You can't deny it.
It is a law from 55.
Thank you. I know it's the law from 55. Sambit Patra, let's move on. Ganeshi Lal, the chairman of the BJP Manifesto Committee in Haryana, has said, and I'm quoting him, the slaughter of a cow would be considered the equal to the murder of a person. As PUDR pointed out, punishment in Haryana for slaughtering a cow now extends up to 10 years rigorous imprisonment, a possible 1 lakh fine on top of that, but worst of all, the onus of proof is on the accused. That, I put it to you, is more stringent than the rape laws. Many people would say this is a form of jurisprudence that's driven by emotion rather than by logic. How do you justify it as a government?
No, number one, Karan, I mean, I have the legislation of most of the states in front of me.
But answer my question. Answer my question. We're moving on. We're not going around in circles.
No, I would be very candid. I would be very candid in saying that rather the rape law should be made more stringent then. It's not that we should see to it that the ones who are slaughtering the cows should go free, but rather the rape law should be made very stringent so that no man in this country should feel free to molest or should feel free to anyway rape a woman in this country. So you believe that
when it comes to rape, and at the moment it's certainly the case when it comes to cow slaughter, you reverse the onus of proof, you don't put it on the prosecution, you put it on the defense. Because that's what the situation is in Haryana as regards the killing of a cow. And remember, you and I as Hindus may look upon cows as holy animals, Muslims and Christians look upon it just as an animal. And they have a right to, even if you find that offensive. So I ask you again, do you really believe the onus of proof should be reversed? The entire jurisprudence of India turned on its head?
Not at all. All these are open to judicial process. Anyone can go and fight a case against this, file a PIL against this in the court of the law. And I can tell you, after reading the 2005 judgment, which was a 7-bench judgment headed by the Chief Justice of the country, that they stand by this ethos of the country, the law of the land, they stand by it.
Rahul Jacob, is it an acceptable answer for a government to pass legislation which reverses and turns on its head the law of jurisprudence, and then when questions say anyone is open to go and challenge it in the court, which sort of suggests they're well aware that it could be challenged and it could be struck down, but they're still happy to pass it as a law? Is that an acceptable argument in a democracy, or does it defy the constitution and the jurisprudence that's accepted in this country? Which is it?
Well, given how intrusive the government is in this country anyway, it just leaves wide sections of business, the population generally, open to abuse. There's a story today that the police in Malegaon have asked farmers to take photographs of their cows and bullocks for future records. So each and every cow and bullock has to be photographed. I mean, this sounds Kafkaesque. It's like something out of communist Russia. And it'll go on. One of the interesting things is one of the first PILs against this ban in Maharashtra has been filed by 2 Hindus. The other point, which as a Pink Paper managing editor I feel compelled to make, is that it makes us look rather silly in the world around us when the financial capital, a hotel manager could be jailed for having a steak in his freezer. That's nuts.
Well, yes, absolutely. That is nuts, to use that Americanism. Rampunyani, a very quick question. In your eyes, is this a test of rights, liberties and freedoms? Or is that an exaggerated way of seeing this issue? Give me a short, sharp answer.
Yeah, Karan, I'll agree with you that this whole legislation is totally opposed to the right to choice of food and liberty in a democratic setup. And that is what communal politics generally does. It intensifies the divides and it wants to suppress those liberties for large sections of society. I must say one thing is being ignored, that large sections of Hindus also consume beef. For example, recently after this ban was brought in, Rishi Kapoor, one of the actors, he also tweeted that he is a Hindu and he eats beef. So I think we need not go in circles, but we have to keep in mind that in the name of Hindu, the holy animal and the cow, everything is being projected as if all the Hindus uniformly accept that. So this is a definite curb of the democratic rights and liberties which we have.
Ajay Kumar, on the other hand, and to be fair to Mr. Rajnath Singh, he did also say that any national law banning the slaughter of cows could only come about by consensus. Now, does that condition mean that this is just a rhetorical talking point, just a way of throwing sops at Hindu voters in the hope that they'll buy it, knowing that that consensus will never happen? Or is this a realistic prospect? Which of the two is it? Give me a quick answer.
There's no question of requirement of consensus or consensus. It's just a political, balloon which they have left, because it is the states to decide. So it is just the Bharatiya Janata Party has got no interest for neither the cow, because like the gentleman from the Hindu Mahasabha, would they take all the cows and the cattle and the buffaloes and maintain them? I mean, let them be a law for compensating farmers who have old cows and buffaloes. Will that be what they're going to bring in? So they are not interested. It's just politics because it's the state.
Is this just politics for you, Rakesh Ranjan? Do you believe that this is just something the BJP is doing?
Absolutely not. We have been supporting at least 20,000 plus gaushalas throughout the country.
Okay.
And we take care of all the abandoned cows rescued from slaughterhouses or from illegal attempts of illegal slaughter.
You remind me of that old joke where you often say India is a country where it's often better to be an old cow than it is to be an old poor man. Maybe we should all be reborn as buffaloes and cows. We'd probably have a better life in India. I'm trying to end this on a jovial note between you so that the acrimony that we've seen earlier dissipates. My thanks to all my 5 guests for joining me. Time for a break. But then, is the church making an unwarranted fuss about the Chief Justice of India's decision to hold a conference on Good Friday? Or has Chief Justice Dattu made a silly mistake?